Throughout history, the loudest cries of alarm have come not from progress itself, but from those clinging to the past, fearing change, resisting evolution, and predicting the end of civilization. Yet, time and again, their fears dissolve as tomorrow becomes today. So, what purpose does resistance truly serve? And why does progress always seem to win? History often paints conservatives as the immovable force against the progressive tide, a staunch guardian of traditions that, with time, inevitably crumble under the weight of societal evolution. From slavery to women's suffrage, from civil rights to LGBTQ+ equality, and now transgender rights, the pattern is unmistakable. Conservative opposition emerges with righteous fervor, delays change for decades, and then quietly concedes to the march of progress. But this isn't a story of futility, it's one of friction. Conservatism rarely stops social movements outright. Instead, it drags them through a gauntlet of resistance, forcing debate, sharpening arguments, and shaping the cultural landscape in the process. Yet, as each new generation emerges with fewer ties to the past, these same movements gain momentum, leaving the old alarms of doom and decay to fade into history. Take the transgender rights debate, for instance. To older generations, steeped in rigid gender norms, the very concept challenges the moral and social foundations they were taught to cherish. They see it as the next existential threat, the end of civilization, just as they did with racial integration, women in the workforce, and same-sex marriage. But to younger generations, conservative or not, the issue feels far less apocalyptic. They've grown up with greater exposure to diversity, shaped by a world where identity is fluid and individuality is celebrated. For them, the battle over bathrooms, pronouns, and gender affirmation care is not the collapse of civilization, but a chapter in its ongoing evolution. So, what is the purpose of conservatism if it merely delays the inevitable? Its defenders might argue that it preserves stability, forcing society to question whether progress is truly progress before leaping headlong into change. Yet, history suggests the deeper purpose is less noble, a visceral discomfort with losing the cultural dominance that tradition affords. What appears as a principled resistance is often just fear of a future where their worldview is no longer the default. But here's the paradox. Conservatism doesn't die with defeat. It evolves. The same movements that once opposed civil rights now claim to champion equality for all. The same voices that dismissed women's liberation now celebrate family values led by empowered women. Even today, some conservatives are shifting toward acceptance of LGBTQ+ individuals, framing it as part of their broader ideology of individual freedom. This adaptability ensures that conservatism remains relevant even as it reshapes itself to align with what it once resisted. The transgender debate, too, will follow this script. In a few decades, when today alarmists have faded and new generations have taken the stage, the idea of transgender rights will seem uncontroversial. Conservatives will have either assimilated to the issue into their ideology or shifted their focus to the next threat to civilization. And the cycle will begin again. So, is conservatism a necessary counterbalance, or simply the last gasp of an outdated worldview? Perhaps it's both. It provides a voice for those afraid of losing their cultural footing, even as history shows that their fears are often unfounded. But as younger generations continue to view these battles with increasing apathy, one thing becomes clear. The guardians of tradition may delay progress, but they cannot stop it. The question isn't if the future will arrive, it's how long we'll wait for it.